What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Big fight week this weekend. Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. Big time heavyweight matchup coming up this weekend at the Barclays, man. You know, they had the press conference today, man, and it went like a lot of people figured it was going to go. A lot of bad blood between these two guys, man. A lot of bad blood, man. Deontay Wilder said he's ready to catch a body. You know, he told Dominic Breazeale that he shouldn't bring his kids to this fight, man. It's going to be a sad situation as far as he's concerned, and a victory as far as Deontay Wilder's concerned. So there's a lot of bad blood going on between them two, man. You know, there's a lot of, you got two sides to the story of what happened back about a year and a half, 2 years ago in Alabama when Deontay Wilder knocked out Gerald Washington and Dominic Breazeale beat Alpha in a very action-packed, tough, toe-to-toe battle between the two guys, as Breazeale was able to win that fight based on he had a little bit more, better stamina, and he and the other guy, punched himself out, and Breazeale was able to knock him out and end up stopping him late in that fight. But it was a very entertaining fight for two guys that at that time wasn't considered upper tier heavyweights. Alta never was and never will be, but Breazeale was not thought of as even a second tier heavyweight that he is right now. So it was a good entertaining fight. But what went down in the hotel lobby was Deontay Wilder said Breazeale threatened his family, and he don't take threats kindly. And he said that Breazeale sucker punched his brother, and his brother, responded and ended up dropping Breazeale. And he said brother was on weigh 185, 190 pounds, and he dropped Breazeale. He weighed probably around 270 at the time, right after the fight. So Breazeale said, that's not what happened. He's saying that Deontay Wilder had 20 goons with him, and he basically got jumped. And Wilder just said, no, you don't never see me hanging around on 20 guys. He said, I never hang around 20 goons because you can't control them. Some break off, some jump off. There's no way you're going to control 20 guys if some jump off. So he doesn't even hang around 20 guys when he's out and about, man. He's got, a very tight, low number circle around him. So he said that's a lie. So it's a lot of bad blood, man. This fight reminds me as far as bad blood. Don't get me wrong now. I'm not saying this is on the level, but this fight that I'm finna compare it to. But this fight reminds me as far as bad blood, personal, very personal. This fight reminds me of Ali Frazier 1. As far as bad blood. There's a lot of bad blood between them. You remember when Joe Frazier said in the locker room before the Muhammad Ali fight, he told God to bless him and look after him for this fight, and he prayed to God that give him the strength to kill Ali in the ring, basically. And Ali, called Joe Frazier Uncle Tom because Joe Frazier was referring to him as Clay. He said Joe Frazier had no skill, was ugly, He didn't deserve to be the heavyweight champion of the world. He was like, only reason why he was champion because I was, banned from boxing for 3.5 years for my religious belief and my opposition to the Vietnam War. Basically called Joe Frazier a white man's champion. So it was a lot of bad blood between those two fights. And that first fight goes down in history as one of the great heavyweight title fights in boxing history. And I'm not saying this fight is going to be anywhere near that, but it's just, I'm saying on a bad blood level, it's right up there with Ali Frazier 1, 2, and 3. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, man. Breazeale, he sounds very confident, man. He said, Deontay Wilder is a disgrace to boxing. He said he doesn't have any skill. He says that Deontay Wilder's been making the same mistake over and over again. He doesn't see how he's able to hold on to that WBC title as long as he has. But he basically said the reason why he's probably been able to do that is because he hasn't fought anybody. He said he's only fought 2 guys, one in Fury, and Breazeale said he thought he lost to Fury, and the other guy was Luis Ortiz. And he thought Luis Ortiz had him beat in the 7th round, but the referee helped Deontay Wilder out, according to Breazeale. Gave him a long time to recover, let him walk around, and gave him a timeout, and basically gave him a lot of time to recuperate when Ortiz had him in trouble in the 7th round. So there's a lot of bad blood between these two guys, man. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I think it's going to be very, very entertaining. I think Deontay Wilder, to me, is the best heavyweight in boxing. He's the #1 heavyweight, in my opinion. I got him ranked #1. I got Fury ranked #2. I got Joshua ranked #3. No, my bad. I got Luis Ortiz ranked #3. I got Joshua ranked #4, and I got Dylan Wright ranked #5. That's my top 5 heavyweight. I believe Deontay Wilder is the #1 heavyweight in the world. And it's going to be a good fight, man. But it's a lot of bad blood, man. And I think, you know, the situation happened with both guys' families were involved. You know, you had Deontay Wilder and his brother. You had Dominic Breazeale and his wife and his kids. This is a very personal fight. And I think this is this type of fight where Breazeale's going to take a lot of punishment. He might get knocked down in this fight. He's going to get back up. His pride and his animosity toward Wilder is going to allow him to probably take more punishment than he probably would have took in other fights, I think. You look at Breazeale other fights where he's been wobbled, he's been hurt by lesser punches than Deontay Wilder. But I think in this particular fight, he's going to probably take shots, better, harder shots, from Deontay Wilder, and and don't crumble than he took in previous fights. When he was in a lot of fights, man, I thought he was like, a couple of fights I watched him fight Breazeale, he seemed like he was 2 or 3 punches away from getting knocked out. In the Alta fight, the couple other fights I seen him in. Even his last fight when he fought the guy when Deontay Wilder and his baby and his wife was at the fight in the Barclays. Even that fight, Breazeale was having problems. That guy was a tricky counter puncher, a very awkward fighter. The guy, I forgot his name was. He was a Latino fighter, and he gave Breazeale a lot of problems in that fight. But I think Breazeale, under the tutelage of Virgil Hunter, is going to be a little bit better than he has been in his. You're gonna get his best. I put it like this: you're gonna get Breazeale's A game. You're gonna get his best up to. You look at his other fights. I think you're gonna get the best version of Dominic Breazeale that you've seen since he's been in the heavyweight division. I think he's gonna be he's gonna put up a brave front. It's not gonna be enough because Deontay Wilder's got too much power, and he's an underrated boxer, man. Got a very good jab. I think he's gonna be using that jab, and he's gonna mesmerize Breazeale with that jab, and he's gonna go over the top with the right hand, and he's gonna eventually get Breazeale out of there. But I think this fight's gonna be very, very exciting. A lot of fireworks. It's gonna be a lot of ebbs and flows. I think Breazeale's gonna land that right on Deontay, but Deontay's shown that he has a real good chin. I think he's been wobbled before, but he's never been on the floor, so he might stun Wilder a couple of times in this fight, man. I think this fight is a more more exciting competitive fight than people believe it's going to be. A lot of people think Breazeale is just a guy that's big and with not too much skill, and Wilder's going to knock the guy out. The first time he catches him with the right, he's going to put him to sleep. I think it's going to be a little bit more different than that. I think Wilder's going to come out and show his boxing skills. He's going to use his jab. He's going to go to the body with the jab. He's going to set up the right hand. He's going to throw the left hook, show a little bit, show skills that he didn't have to show in other fights because he always had that right hand that could end the fight at any moment. I think he's going to show his boxing skills like he did in the Bermane Stefan fight. And while he's doing that, I think Breazeale's going to have some of the success because he's with the left jab. I think that's going to set up Breazeale, if he can slip it, to throw that right hand. And he's going to be able to maybe have some success with his right hand. But unlike Breazeale, Wilder has more than a right hand, as he showed it in the Fury fight. He has a great left hook that he can put you to sleep with. Breazeale has just shown that he's got a good right hand. He hasn't shown that he has a great left hook or anything like that. He shows he throws the jab as a measuring stick. He doesn't use that jab to score, to score points or to punish his opponent with the jab. He kind of used that jab as a range finder. Breazeale, he used that jab as a range finder to set up the right hand, and he'll have some success early on in this fight. But the difference between him and Deontay used his jab to punish his opponent. He's got a very good jab, a very sharp jab. He's going to be using that jab to land on Breazeale, and he's got a good right hand, and he's got an underrated left hook. And that's the punch that he knocked Breazeale down in the 12th round when it was that left hook. It wasn't the right hand, it was the left hook. So it's going to be a good, exciting fight. I think it's going to be the first 4 or 5 rounds. It's going to be a lot of bombs thrown. It's going to be a lot of ebbs and flows to the fight. I think Breazeale's going to have a little success in this fight. I think Wilder's going to have success boxing. I think it's going to be competitive by the first 3 or 4 rounds. But I think about the 5th round, I think Deontay is going to start loading up on that right hand. He's going to start timing him, catching him with that right hand. And just when Breazeale start really looking for that right hand and worried about that right hand, I think Deontay Wilder actually is going to knock this guy out with a left hook. He's going to come up, he's going to sit, he's going to feint like he's going with the overhand right, and then he's going to get Breazeale to get his guard up, anticipating the overhand right, and think he's going to come with the left hook and knock Breazeale down. I think Breazeale's going to show hard and get back up, and I think Breazeale. I see Breazeale touching the canvas multiple times in this fight. Basically, that's basically what I'm telling you. That he's gonna get knocked down with the right hand and the left hook. You know, one of the few things people don't know about Deontay Wilder. This guy is a very smart IQ fighter. He does a good job, but when he's throwing that right hand, if you just notice when he throws that right hand, he comes with the left hand to kind of, and he puts his left hand glove on the opponent left hand to stop them from putting it up to block it. You see what I'm saying? He comes forward. He steps to him aggressive manner, and he puts his left hand glove on the opponent left hand glove to hold the glove down, hold the opponent's glove down to the opponent's waist, so the opponent can't pick it up to try to block the right hand, and then he comes over the top with the right hand, and he knocks you spark out, and that's what he does, man. It's a very crafty, very crafty move, man. He doesn't get enough credit for that, man. That guy is great at using that left hand before he throws it right to hold the victim left guard down, left hand down, left glove down, so they can't come up and block it. And he comes over the top with the right hand, and he's knocked a lot of his opponents out using that style, man. Great champion, man. You go over the history of other great champions. They've had their own little style. Look at George Foreman. He's got that little pitter pat style where that's why I think maybe Deontay Wilder maybe got that from George Foreman. George Foreman used to do the same thing. It's in a Joe Frazier fight when he knocked Joe Frazier down by like 6,000 times. He kept blocking Joe Frazier's punches with his hand. He kept putting that hand out there, and every time Joe Frazier would throw a hand, he would deflect it with his glove. Well, Deontay Wilder has taken that and done it in a different way, in a different style, and he's used that left hand to just hold. He's so strong to hold the other opponent's left hand down and come over the top with the right hand. He's able to knock his opponents out, man. It's just a good way of I'm gonna come forward. And I'm gonna set this right hand up, and I know you're gonna try to block it with your left, but my left hand is gonna hold your hand down from coming up top, and you're just gonna have to brace yourself and get caught with this punch, man. Flush, and that's what did happen. Just a great punch by Deontay Wilder, and it's one of the great setup punches and punch. And one of the great knockout punches in boxing history by Deontay Wilder, man. Just a great thing to see, man. And just show you the greatness of Deontay Wilder. But it's gonna be a good matchup, man. It's gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be more competitive than people think. But I think at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder's power and overall boxing ability is gonna be too much for Dominic Breazeale. And I think he's gonna come out the winner and still the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. In other news, man, we're going to talk about Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence, man. There's been rumblings going on that fight is they're having problems finalizing that fight due to money, man. They're saying Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter, they want they're looking at a certain amount that they want to make for that fight, and they're not budging, and they saying they want they want this amount of money, and I guess Errol Spence is saying you don't deserve that, you couldn't sell out a family dinner. That's what he kept saying during the Mikey Garcia fight. He said it before and after the Mikey Garcia fight. He couldn't sell out a family dinner, so I don't think he feels Shawn Porter deserves whatever he's asking for. You notice, one thing I kind of picked up on, man, right after that fight, after Errol beat Mikey Garcia, you know, he did an interview with Fox, and Shawn Porter was, you know, he works for Fox too. He was asking questions, and one thing I noticed, you know, Errol was still, you know, trying to get him, you know, he was still looking to fight Manny Pacquiao after that. And Shawn Porter told him, say, look, if you can't get that fight, if he dragging his feet, you know, I'm available, man. I'm willing to make the fight with you, you know. And they asked Shawn Porter, you know, what would he like to fight? You know, would he fight in Dallas? He said, yeah, I don't have no problem fighting. We can have it right here in the same place, AT&T Stadium. We can have it right here. And when he said that, I said to myself, man, do we think when he fight Errol Spence, they're going to fight at AT&T Stadium and it's going to be on pay-per-view and they're going to have a big crowd, 47,000 like it was with Mikey Garcia? Because if he thinks, and he's going to ask for the same amount of money that Mikey Garcia made in the fight, and I would think to myself, he thinks that, he's crazy because he's not worth that. It's all about your worth. What can you bring to the table? What kind of numbers are you bringing? And you look at Shawn Porter last fight against Ugas, man, there was nobody there, man. They had a bunch of empty seats, man. Bunch of empty seats at StubHub Center. You know, the fight did pretty good ratings as far as TV ratings, but crowd, you know, the attendance-wise, the fight did not draw that well. You know, did not draw that well. So he's not a draw, man. You know, he's from Cleveland. I know he's from Ohio. I think he's right outside of Cleveland, or if not from Cleveland. And he's never had a hometown fight because he doesn't have a huge fan base in Ohio. So, you know, so he doesn't bring, you know, he's not a fighter that puts a lot of butts in the seats. You know, what he brings to the table is a WBC title. And I guess, you know, and that's worth something. Don't get me wrong, but if he thought he was going to get what Mikey Garcia got, and if he thought that fight was going to be on pay-per-view, like Mikey Garcia fight was going to be on pay-per-view, like the Mikey Garcia fight was on pay-per-view, he should have known better than, he should have known that, you know, he should have, you know, if he thought that, he's crazy. Just put it like that. If he thought that, he thought wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way that he was going to get the same deal Mikey Garcia got. Mikey Garcia got a fan base. He's got a Latino Mexican fan base that supports him. You notice after he got beat by Errol Spence, man, he's got another fight that's rumored to be against Danny Garcia, and that's going to be a pay-per-view fight in the Staples Centers in Los Angeles, California. So, you know, he's got a fan base that he, you know, he's got that Mexican fan base, and they're very loyal, and they're going to support him. And the one thing about their fan base, even if you lose, they'll still support you. You know, as for example, Canelo, after he lost to Floyd Mayweather, you know, he came back and I think he fought what's the Spanish guy? Oh, El Perro. He fought El Perro, and that fight was on pay-per-view, and I think it did like around 300,000. So he you know, even coming off a domination by Floyd Mayweather Jr., he came back and the fans still support him as he did. I think 300,000 when he fought El Perro in a pay-per-view fight in I think it was in Las Vegas. So there's the Latinos, Hispanic, Mexican fans, they will support you. You got, and Mike Garcia is joining that support right now. So that's why he's able to take a loss and still go on pay-per-view. So we'll see what happens with that, man. Hopefully the fight get made. You know, I was real excited, you know, last week, and I was like, man, we got two potential great fights coming up. You know, you got Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman on July 20th. We got Errol and Shawn Porter on August 3rd, 2 weeks later. But now it's looking like that fight might not happen. It's still, I'm not saying it's definitely not happening, but it's a chance it might not happen because I think Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter, they feel they're in a very strong position. They like, Errol, who you gonna fight, man? You know, everybody else is tied up with fights. So, you know, I'm the best available opponent. You need to meet my demands, or if not, I'll just fight my mandatory. You know, Shawn Porter's got another mandatory. You know, he had two mandatories he had to take care of. You know, he took care of one of them with Ugas, but he still have another mandatory with Andre Berto that he has to take care of. You know, we all know that the unification trumps mandatory. So if he fights Errol, obviously they'll take precedence over the mandatory. But that's another option that I think Shawn Porter can go to. Even though that first fight was not good, a lot of headbutting, a lot of wrestling, grabbing, a lot of rough house tactics by Shawn Porter. He was able to win the fight, man, but it was not pleasing to the eye to watch that fight, man. It was not a fan-friendly fight at all. So, if they do that fight, Berto, Porter too, man. You know, that first fight was in Barclays. You know, they probably put this second fight. They might probably put that fight in StubHub. You know, I think Berto fought Victor Ortiz in a rematch at StubHub. So maybe they put that fight at StubHub if the fight takes place. But hopefully it won't, man. I want to see Shawn Porter versus Errol Spence. I want to see unification. I want to find out who's the best at 147 pounds, and this will be one step closer to finding out who's the best if those two guys end up meeting up. So hopefully they will fight. But as far as Errol Spence, man, some options where if the fight don't go down, some other options for him is, you know, he's gonna think about Errol. He's at a good place right now. He doesn't have to, you know, fight a top echelon fighter to get his money, man. He can get his money fighting good, strong competition, second tier competition, and still get his money. You know, he can fight Ugas. You know, that could be a good fight. Maybe they can fight that at the Star in Dallas, in Frisco, Texas. Or he could fight Sergey Lipinets. Sergey Lipinets put on a great fight with Lamont Peterson. And that fight is probably one of the candidates for the fight of the year for 2019. A great toe-to-toe phone booth battle, man. A lot of ebbs and flow in that fight. You know, it was a great fight, man. He ended up stopping Lamont Peterson and putting him into retirement. So maybe that's a fight that Errol Spence can look at. Another fight he probably can look at, I think it's a long shot, but another fight he may can look at is Omar Figueroa. Guys from West Alaska, Texas. You know, he's another Texas guy. You know, he fight Errol Spence. You know, that could be a good matchup, man. They could put that fight maybe in San Antonio or maybe put it in Dallas. You know, either way, you know, that could be a big time fight. You know, he'll have the Latino supporting him, and Errol will have the black fan base supporting him, and then he's got Latino supporting him too. So that'd be a good fight to put in Texas. I don't think I say it's a long shot because I think Figueroa and his team probably would want that fight because that's basically, you know, Errol said that they asked him about a potential matchup with Figueroa. He said, yeah, I fight that punching bag. So he look at Figueroa as just a punching bag. He'll just punish for about 5, 6, 7 rounds before they stop it. So we'll see, man. We'll see if that matchup, man. But I kind of think Omar Figueroa is gonna probably end up fighting Adrian Broner. I think that's gonna be the next matchup. Adrian Broner versus Omar Figueroa. I think that'll be a very entertaining fight. You got a guy that throws a lot of punches, and then you got a defensive-oriented fighter like Adrian Broner that sits back and try to counter you and look for openings to let his hands go. And it would be a good fight. You know, the press conference would be, you know, good, especially with AB. You know, AB always got a lot to say, so he would do a lot of trash talking. And Omar is a more quiet guy, but he does his talking in the ring. He's more flashy inside the ring than outside the ring. As Adrian Broner is vice versa. He's more flashy outside the ring than he is inside the ring as far as his mouth. So that would be entertaining. That's the fight I probably look more forward to having than Figueroa versus Spence. I would say Figueroa versus Broner would be more likely. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll transpire. Hopefully they come together, man. Hopefully somebody budge. Maybe Errol say, man, I'm going to give him another $1 million. Whatever they short on, whatever the money that they are looking for, give them that extra $1.2 million or $1 million or $500,000 just to make that fight happen. Because if you get 2 belts, man, you'll be in a stronger position. And then you'll be in a stronger position when you fighting other champions like the Manny Pacquiao, Thurman winner, or Terrence Crawford, because those guys will be coming to the table with 1 belt, and you'll be coming to the table with 2 or possibly 3 belts. So we'll see what happens on game. We'll see what happens, man. I'm about to get up on out of here, man. Just giving you guys a little boxing news, man. What's been going down, man. And it's a great weekend coming up. Looking forward to the Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale fight. A lot of bad blood. The press conference was epic, and I'm just looking forward to the matchup, man. You got Gary Russell Jr. As the co-main event, fighting Kiko Martinez, as Gary Russell's gonna be looking to put on a dazzling performance to set up a matchup with either Gervonta Tank Davis next yeah, that's what he's gonna be looking to set up with him. Set up with a matchup with Gervonta Tank Davis. Or Leo Santa Cruz. But Leo Santa Cruz don't look like he's in no hurry to try to fight Gary Russell. So he's been trying to call out Gervonta Tank Davis. Maybe they can set that match up because set that matchup next. You know, both guys got fights coming up. Gervonta Davis' fight just got announced today. He's fighting a guy called Rico Nunez. He's going to be fighting him in his hometown in Baltimore, Maryland on July 27th. That fight is slated to be on Showtime. So that's a fight that he's looking at. I think that's his mandatory, so he can get that mandatory out the way. Once he wins and it looks spectacular, and Gary Russell wins and looks spectacular, let's get it on, man. Let's set this match up. Let's set these two up, man. Russell said he's willing to move up to fight Gervonta Davis, so hopefully they can set that matchup up. That could be a big fight coming up in the fall or winter. And that'll be one of the best fights of 2019 in the lower weight classes. So we'll see what happens with that, man. We'll see what happens with that. And we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully that fight gets made. Both guys are victorious, and hopefully that fight gets made. This is, but I'm about to get up out of here, man, watch some basketball. We got Golden State and Portland coming up. You know, we'll see if Portland can make this a series. I'm looking for them to play a much better matchup, much better game. Then they played game one when they got blown out. To get out of his shooting slump. He played bad game one and game 7 in the Denver series. But C.J. McCollum bailed him out and was able to take over that game, and they was able to win that game and move on. But Dame Lillard's got to play some basketball, man. He's got to come out with that same ferocity like he came out in that Oklahoma City series, man. You know, he had a lot of disdain toward Russell Westbrook. He's got to get in that same mindset against the babyface assassin and Steph Curry. And C.J. McCollum got to get to that level like he played in Game 7 to match up with Klay Thompson. So that's the problem, man. Portland's strength is their guards, but you go against a team that actually probably have better guards than you have. And if their team is better than your strength, and then they got other players that can step up, championship level players that can step up and make plays, it's going to be hard for Portland to win that series, man. I called it before the series started that Golden State was going to win it 4-1. And I don't see nothing in game 1 change my mind. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm looking for this to be a little bit more competitive game, but I'm looking for Golden State to pull away in the fourth quarter. But I think it's going to be much more competitive. And I think Portland's going to have to get much more physical with Golden State. You know, they're going to have to fight through those screens. And if they got to get a couple of fouls running through screens and maybe you do a couple of hard fouls if Curry go to the hole. If you got to take a couple of fouls, and maybe a flagrant, you got to do what you got to do. You got to change this series up, because if it's a free-flowing series where they run their offense and it's all about skill and talent, you're not gonna be Golden State that way, man. You got to muddy the game up, man. You got to muddy the game up, play physical, get physical with those guys, make it a rough and tumble series. Try to limit to possessions. You know, don't try to get into your offense till like around about 12 to 10 seconds into your offense, and get to your offense, and then try to limit the possession, man. Slow the game down. You don't want the game up in the 100. You don't want the game up in the 112, 110 range. You want this game down in the 96, 98, no more than the 100 range. That's what Portland got a chance to win. If it's up in the 100, if you see the game up in the 115s and the 120, that's Golden State type of game. If it's up in the high 90s, that's Portland type of game. So it's going to be about getting physical and limiting the possessions, and and slowing the game down and muddying the game up. I think that's their best chance. That's take the page out of what the Cleveland Cavaliers did under LeBron James. That's what they did. Got physical with Golden State. You know, they didn't get into their offense until like around about 10 to 14 seconds left in the shot clock. That's when they actually tried to get into their offense, and they was able to execute. And they had Cleveland in trouble in that first championship run that Golden State had. They was up 2-1, and they didn't even have Kyrie or Kevin Love. That's what they was able to do. And they was up 2-1, and they was up at halftime in game 4 until Iguodala came off the bench and gave him that spark. And he was in. I think Curry put him into the starting lineup, and then the rest was history. They was able to take over that series and win it in 6 games. So we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully it'll be a better game than it was game 1. I'm about to get up out of here and get ready to watch this game. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.